Hey folks, we're going to do some more mass combat prep today, so give me a minute while I check my signal, make sure everything looks good. Make sure everything sounds good to me. Okay, great. So in the description down below, there is a link to my Twitter account, I believe. So I just updated there. So if you follow me on Twitter, you'll never miss a beat. When I'm live, you'll hear about it live. A lot of folks know about me in Discord channels where I do most of my knife sharpening, DMsGuild Lounge, Indestructive Boys, Designosphere, Drive-Through RPG Space, Treant Monk's Temple, fantastic crew there. Dungeoneers Pack is, I love hanging out with him and just talking shop, classes and constructs. Does amazing work with converting cards into D&D ideas. Let's see, Zipperon and Cleric Corner and Rich Mary, y'all are really great about adding flavor to characters. And Fry Minis has the freshest smelling paints for miniatures that you could ever smell. And then there's D&D Flagship. So also in the link down below, there's a playlist where this is added to, so you can see all the content about the mass combat and vehicle stuff that we've been doing with Spelljammer. On the cover, obviously, you can see the production of the cover that I'm working on here, Spelljammer Combat and Exploration. In the Patreon link, there is the test to the playtest content that we've been using for Life of Xeraxis with Spelljammer, but today we're going further up the document, like into the, I think I want to say in the 80s? No, like in the 60s, maybe, like page 160, maybe, is the descent into Avernus mechanics, which is what we'll be focusing our attention on today. If you caught up with us last night, you know that the DiA playtesting that we've been doing, we're going to do 12th level tomorrow, and we've got the crew is hanging out in Elturel. So we've actually got the Elturel document up here in roll 20 for us. It doesn't take a lot of space at all to be able to do this. This is a 30 by 30 block of grid space that on a kitchen table would be 30 inches by 30 inches. On a VTT, you've got a crap ton of space. I have a pretty strong CPU, so I can literally build a 100 by 100 board and put the entire city of Avernus, of Elturel on the map, have the characters be able to move around it in 50-foot squares. And of course, if you're updated, or if you will soon be updated on the playlist, we know that the vehicles that we're running around with the Infernal war machines, they operate at the 50. They're native to the 50-foot scale. That's their default mode of movement. Just like human, like medium-sized creatures, whatever, their default movement is on the 5-foot grid. And Spelljammers are at the 500-foot scale grid. The Infernal war machines sit in the space in between at the 50-foot scale grid. So by native, I mean what their natural movement rate is. Like Infernal war machines are listed as having a speed of 100. So that in the command translation, that means that every time you use a movement to use an action to move your vehicle, that's the scale that you're moving at. Like for example, if this character is controlling Infernal war machines here in the 50-foot scale, like a Tormentor has a speed of 100 feet per action. So that's 2 squares as an object interaction, and then 2 more squares as like a bonus action, and oops, can't go that way. And like 2 more squares this way as a bonus object interaction, bonus action, and just a standard action. But you know, you can use dodge and disengage as actions, and instead of using an action to take a move, you could command your crew of gunners to fire weapons as you're going along. And in the 50-foot scale, we know that. So scaling out a bit, panning down, turning over. We know that here's our rough floor plans for a Tormentor, a 2x3 huge size truck. here is the rough floor plan for a demon grinder, which is our gargantuan 15 by 28 gargantuan truck. Here it sits at the 50-foot scale, but as we've discussed before, you can fit, this is only 20 feet long, so you could theoretically fit 4 or like 9, like 4 of these or like 9 of these inside of a 50-foot square. So while this 50-foot square could, like this 50-foot square here, could represent a single truck that your team is on, but it could also represent a number of trucks occupying that 50-foot space. So then it just becomes an issue of, are we just dealing with our individual truck, or are we dealing with a convoy of trucks? That's what we call them convoys. So, but the actions, if you're controlling a single truck, it's your object interaction is steering the wheel. But if you've got a whole bunch of, if you have a convoy with you, you can't steer all their wheels. So instead you use a verbal, your free verbal action, like when you issue a verbal command once per round to animate objects or undead. You've got that 1 per round free verbal command that you can use. So just like you have that free 1 action object interaction per round that you can use. So you can get 1 for free each round, and then you have to start eating up your own action economy to further command them to, with bonus action, move again, and with the standard action, move again, or use any of the movement options of dodge, disengage, as well. Dash is another move, or break it up into attacks. Like I command my crew to attack 1, 2. I'm a fighter, 11th level, 3 times. So that you're using your action economy to perform different actions. You can also do things like use your bonus action to give your weapon crew advantage this attack, or you could roll with impact. So you use your reaction as a driver. You use your reaction. You give your truck, everyone on the truck, advantage on dodge saving throws, or evasive actions, attacks against your disadvantage this round. So there's a number of little options that you can kick in there to use to protect your squad. But when you're building your encounter, you want to think, what scale are we operating at? You want to be able to move around at the 50-foot scale, and then it's just a matter of flavor of are you going to spend a lot of time at the 5-foot scale, like maybe you're doing a run and gun against a giant hell wasp like this, like a gargantuan hell wasp. So like this is the thing that you're fighting, but you're both moving at 50 feet at the 50-foot scale here, 100 up to 300 feet in a round. So while you're gunning along here, you've got the bug with you. So you're like chasing the bug through the city, and while you are within range, and while you're staying in pursuit of the bug, you've got this scale relationship that you're within weapons range and basically firing on it. And we have the further kicker that the Infernal war machines that we're using are VTOLs, because they've merged the steel and flesh of the Infernal war machines with the carapace of the hell wasps that they captured in the last session. So they've now, like, I don't remember the name of the mad scientist who created all the monsters in that old movie. It's Dr. Zhivago. But it's kind of a, you have the Mad Maxine, who's your night hag mechanic. She can sculpt flesh just as easily as she can build machines. So you get her to the wasp nest, and she starts taking wings and basically fusing them to the frame of the Infernal war machine. It basically builds the bug into the frame of it. So your bug now has a gunship instead of just being a giant bug. So that's the story that goes on there. And so, but the problem is that the city is being overrun by demons all along these chains here. Like this chain here is what we see here at the 50-foot scale. Here's your 50-foot scale. Here's your 500-foot scale. And we know that a trebuchet has a 1,500-foot range. So you got 1 square, 2 square, 3 squares. It's just outside, like that's literally just outside of range of hitting the actual chain hook. So there's going to be, we got to drop assets in here for demons and devils fighting up the chain, and all the aerial stuff that you're going to fight has to deal with siege weapon fire, both from your Citadel of Hope or whatever, as well as the occupying forces. Since there's only a 1,2,3 foot range on the trebuchet coming off this fortress, that means this whole far east ridge is safe from human interference. So their siege weaponry can be set up here and used to 1, 2, 3. Just out of range, they have to advance ground. So if they can get to this point, they can start using mangonels against the fortress and tear it down quickly. Trebuchets can hit from here, but they require a lot of space, and it's difficult to get them set up in that suburban area. So they actually do need to get into this clearing. So what the devils want to do is push back the demons that are trying to climb the chains, and if they can get rid of the demons, then they can turn their attention to advanced lines to get themselves into a position here where they can start lobbing mangonels at this fortress and drop it. And once that fortress drops, then they can take the rest of the city. So the siege that we speak of, the Siege of Elturel, is the demons and the devils trying to gain control of the beachfront over here. There's also devils and demons here, but this is it's within 3 squares of your foe. So these guys are constantly going to be taking trebuchet fire. All these are. They're all within trebuchet range from the Citadel. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. So this end of the chain, if they could trebuchet stones into the chain long enough and break the chains that way. It's going to take a lot of broken buttresses and rubble from the community around them, but they could do it. So the devils have cleared off the chains here, so the actual devil demon fight is on here at the base of these chains. But over here, the devils and the demons are fighting at the top of the chain, and this is our hot spot here because the top of this chain is being overrun by demons, and the devils are falling back in towards Torm's Reach. So the heroes are going to pick up at the edge of Torm's Reach and try to push back both the devils and the demons that are coming up the hook. And if they can clear this area, they obviously they could disembark. But they got flying creatures. The reason why they want to have this area clear is because this is where Zariel is going to be attacking, because this is the only point of the tower that hasn't fallen apart yet. Like it's on its last square. If this last square tears off, then this whole thing could just drop into the river Styx underneath it, and then all the souls get dunked and killed, and then Zariel can just sweep them all up. So Zariel is going to show up next session at the 50-foot scale. Let's get that. Oh my god. There we go. Thank you. Jeez, cool. Oh my god, this is so horrible. Anyway, so Zariel is going to show up here at the 50-foot scale map, and she's in a Spelljammer, and that Spelljammer is 200 feet. So 50, 100, 120, 150. So here's the this is the wrong map. She shows up here at the 500-foot scale. That's the Spelljammer's native scale. So a Spelljammer looks like, get in there, buddy. Yeah. Here's your Spelljammer at the 500-foot scale. And here's the whole city of Elturel. So you can see, these ships are big. And what she needs, and she's got a massive blade. Like, if you know Descendant and Avernus, you know that Zariel just basically flies around a 400-foot long scimitar. Wom, 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 wom. It's just I was talking about this last night. You can check that. Check that in the playlist. It's the most recent episode. But if she can get here and she can deal damage to this edge here, all she has to do is 3,000 points of damage here, and then 3,000 points of damage here, and this whole bit gets shorn off, and the whole structure then crumbles, and everyone boom, goes dunk. The Citadel and this are first, because, you know, blumsh like that. So when Zariel shows up with the Flying Fortress, all she has to do is cleave through here, and that starts setting that off. There's already earthquakes. We already know from the adventure as written, there's already earthquakes that are going off because of how it's buckling under its own weight as it straddles the river Styx like this. So it's just a matter of time before it falls, and that's ultimately what Zariel wants to do. But she also wants to make sure that she's in control of this area, so that when it falls, you don't have to worry about any demons going in and drinking up all those delicious souls off the river Styx. That they'll be pushed away and they can be all hers. So that way she can fuel her ship and blah blah blah. But, you know, if we're using the Spelljammers, you don't have to fuel your ship anymore. So Zariel's ship actually kind of needs an upgrade. So if she kills all the people in the city, she can imbue her flying citadel to become a true Spelljammer and be able to not need to eat souls anymore to fly. So that's how we fix Spelljammer into Helljammer. So what I'm doing right now is the focus of the conversation. Tomorrow's playtest will be operating at this scale. So I'm going to just swing in here and see if I can find some cool demons that I've already loaded into the dock that we can do fun things with. Here's a Bull Weevil. Grab that guy. So I'm just gonna thumb through here, and then if I have to, we'll go out onto the interwebs and find what we're looking for. Here is Walking Ballistas, which the team picked some up of. Here is a catapult, so we can drop these things here. And we'll have these Walking Ballistas. They only have a 500-foot range, so that's 10 squares. These have a 1,000-foot range, which is what is that? 10 of these, and then 20 for these. So 20 S range. $10 square range, 500 feet is 10 squares. Bob's your uncle. And like this is 30 squares total. So from here, these guys can hit right about here. So if the team tries to come in flying, they are going to start taking shots. What I expect them to do is to duck into the streets and go along the street level so that they have cover against the ballistas that are coming at them. So they may get like if they get to here, they're going to be in ballista range. So like dropping down to the city and then going through here and then sweeping their way this way to get to the ballistas would probably be the best course of action. So every time they stick their neck up to try to hop over buildings, there's attacks of opportunity that can come at them. So there's that. So we start here with the long-range mangonels, and it's just a play test, so we're keeping them limited inside of this block. Do we want to do that? Maybe we want to open up that terrain a little bit more. I kind of want to open up the terrain a little bit more. So let's go in here and open up the terrain a little bit more. I'm gonna grab these. I'm gonna grab these next. These next 6. because I want them. So we're gonna go. Like this. That's gone. We'll go hard copy. Go edit, and then we go new, enter, blot, then merge down, and then file is save as equals. What's this guy? 21,711. Shut that down. That's gonna be such a great book. Oh my god, I'm so excited about this. This is so fun. Yeah. 100, 711. Image, let's see. Yeah, canvas size. Good enough. Bah! So we'll save there. Save those changes. And then we can hop back over to here and let's scoop up an asset. So when we release this product, we'll have all these squares built out as maps. I'm actually really looking forward to that. Is chip chop chiri chiri chirum. I think I need to make this is drawing. There we go. Yeah, that's good enough. And then we can go advanced equals lock position, and then we can go to layer, it's map layer, and then we can go to the map layer. You can right click on that and go to back. There we go, and then we can go back to here. Advanced, unlock, take this guy and drop him here instead. And we can lock, and then we can go back to here. Okay, cool. So I added another 10 inches, so this is now a 30 by 40. That just about fits on a normal roll-up battle map. What is the dimensions of a roll-up battle map? Chess X. Let's look at Chess X. Chess X battle map. It's a 26 by 23. Let's get this one. See, this one's 34 by 48 inches. So you could go pick up this Chess X map. I used to have this Chess X map all the way back before the year 2000. Chess X is freaking great. What a fantastic product. And it's 34 by 48, which is larger than the 30 by 40 inches that this map is occupying. And you have this whole 20 by 20 inch space here to leave open to, like, you know, bring trucks into, so that you can do chases, like the trucks stay in relative position. You know, like if they're taking a turn, they're going this way, and if they're heading north, they're going this way, and if they're going south, and they're going this way. If this guy's pursuing, he's always following this littler guy, right? So that's how you do a pursuit. You stay within range of each other and you just keep moving. Your relative distance during a chase or a dogfight stays the same at, in this case, it's 5 feet, because they're Infernal war machines. They don't need, they're built on the 5-foot scale. But up here, like if this guy, if the greatest dog ever represented the Tormentor, and Asaras, the chosen of Tiamat, is the chaser. They're great friends, by the way. Don't even worry about the titles. But if they are in pursuit like this, if they're in a run and gun, like, they could turn, and so now they'll be going this way. Like, you can only turn once during, like for example, these things move 100 feet, so that's 2 squares, and during those 2 squares, they could turn direction once. So you can go here, like that. So now you can be going this way. It's like if you got 3 turns, you're gonna go, like, say, that's 1 turn, and then 1, 2, and then you can do 1, 2, and then 1, 2. Like, that's your 1, 2. You went 1, 2, 3. That's your 3 90-degree moves if you take all your actions as a move. So you can move at the beginning or the end of your movement, or in the middle of it. You can do diagonals, whatever. You just can't go backwards. Actually, yeah, I think I'm okay with that. So let's do this. We're going to modify these rules because we are playtesting after all. So let's mod these rules. Once per, let's see, when move, pick direction up to 90 degrees, and move in that direction. Changing direction sooner equals stop moving, make a new move action in the new direction. Like Spelljammer. I'm gonna razz the mechanic. That's so cool. Let's go to Spelljammer. Go 9, 17, 17, playtest. So the way that this would move at the 50-foot scale, like let's say you're here. If you want to go this way, then it's going to be, that's the direction you choose. Your speed is, let's say your speed is 150. Let's say you're using a demon, a Devil's Ride, which has a speed of 150. It's only size large, it's the size of a horse, but it moves 150 feet per move. So 1, 2, 3, that's your move. And then you can choose to go down the side, because you're small enough, you could choose to go down this way. That's a 90-degree turn, and you have 1, 2, and if you wanted to turn this way, that's the end of your move. So you went 1 move to here, and then you went 1 move to here, and even though you still have movement available left, you've turned directions. So you now can go 1 move this way, and you're going to end your turn back on the street again. Alternatively, if you had started here, you could have gone 1, 2, 3, and then 1, and then you have to change direction, and then 1, 2, 3. You'd end up almost at the exact same position using the same 3 actions. So you pick one direction and you just go off in that direction, and then if you want to change directions again, you can. Just choose the direction that you want to go and go as long as your movement will let you. Spelljammers are different because they have hover, so they can just hover in place. Well, actually, we gave these guys wings, so they can VTOL and drift back. They're dragonflies. They can drift backwards if they want to. So they technically have perfect maneuverability, but to excuse me, for the sake of the test, we are going to go. We're going to have them, if they get down onto the street, being able to use these drive mechanics. So I like those. They're a little different. You're in a good space between Walking and Saltmarsh. So Saltmarsh is Saltmarsh. You can move once per round because you're being pushed by tide. If you're wind. If you're rowing, you could use multiple actions in a turn to row faster. You can't just make the wind blow faster, but you do have ship actions that allow you to use a command action to get an extra burst of speed or like catch the wind to move an extra time. But you can't dodge and you can't disengage with. Well, I guess you could disengage with boats. I guess that makes sense, but you can't really dodge with a boat. Yeah, they're really limited in their movement, and they can only turn once per turn. So and they can turn up to 90 degrees once per turn. Even if you use 2 actions, you get 1 action for free, 1 movement for free, and then you can use another movement to dash. And then you've got somewhere in there 1 move up to 90 degrees. Here you've got 3 actions that you can use to move or otherwise maneuver. And you can turn once at the beginning of each action. That makes sense. I like that a lot. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, cool. So now we got our block of 6 maps, right? It's pretty hardcore. Let's grab these, get them out of the way. Now we can start laying in some more. Ooh, wow. Well, let me take a look at this guy. Show me more about you. You're here. 1, 2. Oh. 1, 2, 3. Here's your priority. Very nice. Hold on. Yeah. Wait, nope. There we go. Okay, cool. So I am pretty happy with that idea. So let's fetch up some more forces of hell to create defense points. Let's just say these guys don't have trebuchet. They've only got mangonel. So they've got. Ooh, that's cool. Got a little fortress thing they got set up here. This will be a fun little idea for them to come at. And oh god, this is such a cool freaking thing. Okay, so your big threat here is that you've got these guys that are pushing into this square here, so they're going to be able to attack the citadel if they just got to get a little bit. Hold on, let's zoom back in here and take a look at this. God, I love building these things. They're so cool. They're occupying this space here, which is 1, 2. It's 3 away. So they really do need to get to here to go 1 and then 2. 1, 2. They could be here. Ideally, they'd be here. There's not a lot of space. Like they can get the walking ballistas set up in these streets, but the mangonels and the trebuchet, they need to have openings for them to use them. So that's why this is such a fun space, because there's these little pockets where they can drop turrets into. And then you got the walking ballista up here on the streets that that are defending it from a higher vantage point. So, because these guys are indirect fire, they can be hidden and nestled down in these little bunkers, while the walking ballistas need to have direct line of sight. So they have to be out in the open. So I can actually get another group of these here. God, this is so cool. We'll put a walking ballista here and here. Let's drop one of these here. I know what the team's going to want. They're going to want to take all this siege weaponry. And they are incredibly welcome to do so if they're capable of doing that. I think their objective more than anything is to gank this gear. I think that's their real motivation. If they can get enough of these weapons accumulated, they can really rain some pain down and keep Zariel from getting too close. I think that's what it's going to be. The team's going to have a strong siege front that Zariel is going to try to get around and break this thing in half. So they're going to have to guess on where they need to position their stuff, and then Zariel will choose where she drops her enemies to do her assault. So I'm going to stack up some weaponry here. Let's put that one here. Oh, these are walking turrets, walking ballistas. So I'm going to put one there. And let's put one here and here. Push these back a bit. I'm pretty happy with that, though. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. We got some turret here. That's cool. Let's go find some demons to act as. Let's get the. I'm not gonna bother with hell machines over here. Actually, I should bother with some double rides. That seems appropriate. Where's my rides? Giant roly polies. It's so fun. Man, that is a lot of firepower these dudes are going to want. I know my team wants this stuff. They are marching their way. These heavy ballistas are marching their way. They're going to have to go all the way around Torm's Reach. I think that's... Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so we're going to have to build some clear, distinguishing characteristics. I got another half hour or so. So let's see if we can build some distinguishing characteristics between... like at a glance devils versus at a glance demons, like so we can easily tell one from the other. We know that the devils have the siege machinery. They've been here longest. They set up defenses here. So let's go find some abominations. That's fun. Let me drop that guy on the board. This is a concealed shadow spot that the players can't see into. I mean, obviously they know I stream, so they can be seeing this. Grab some of that. See if that's interesting. Over here with the Forces of Hell. You know, this guy could make a play at some point. So fun. Just grabbing whatever demon or devil looking sort of things we can find. I'm gonna fix. I think this is something that needs fixing. There we go. All right, but yeah, super easy setup. Not very difficult to do. It's no more. I mean, once you realize that it's just basically times 10, it's pretty easy to figure out how to paste this stuff together. So it's just literally 10 times the amount of damage, and you basically just like vehicles and Spelljammer and stuff. They're basically just like temporary hit points that are added to the pilot's hit point total, or if it's a squadron of ships or a convoy of vehicles, whoever's the commander of that squadron is whose hit points get pulled from. Unless each character inside the squadron wants to have their own ship, at which point then they have their ship with their hit point total, and they can combine their actions together. Like they could form up into formation. They can move into formation. They can gather in formation so that one character can maneuver for all of them, which then frees up the action economy for other characters to continue maneuvering. Like if you have a wizard, or maybe a cleric and a fighter, for instance, is a fun pairing. Because the fighter is going to get a lot of action economy to make attacks with both his ship and the cleric's ship, if you two are working in a squadron together, and the cleric can use support spells, healing spells, and can use movement. So the cleric's limited action economy can be made more useful because of the movements that you can get out of the verbal action, and then you probably don't have a bonus action that's going to have any kind of meaning. So so you can use that to dodge, disengage, or dash, and then you've got your spell casting, which would be your one spell per round standard casting anyway. If you've got a bonus action that you think that's going to be useful, then you could do that instead of maneuvering, or you could just stop where you're at for now and just use. You always have the object interaction, and you always have the once per round free verbal command. So there's always the opportunity to at least move, assuming that you're not going to draw attacks of opportunity. But I mean, if you are, then don't bother. You can put this goofy guy in here. He seems like he's fun. I'm just basically setting up a swarm of different types of demon-looking type creatures that I can just have push its way up the chain to attack the team. So that's what I got going on there. Let's bring in that swarm. That'll be a problem for the characters if they poke their head up over the ground. And let's grab one of these worms that could pop up at any time in the terrain. Let's see, what other cool things we got going on here. That's a horde. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, let's use these robot bugs. super, just a horde of weird little monsters that, I mean, they're just demons, right? You don't have to really, demons don't have to have a lot of rules. They're just built out of chaos and hatred. So they just take whatever form they feel is most hateful. And you know, and then they sally forth. While the devils are obviously a little more organized than that in general. But I just want to have all these rando things to have the team screw around with if they want. Oh, there we go. That's the kind of crap I want to see. Yeah, so we're almost done over here. We have to build some stat cards real quick for these guys. So I want to see if there's anything else that's enticing. And once I know how many people actually have showing up tomorrow, we'll know how much of this battlefield do we need to saturate with enemies. If I only have 3 playtesters tomorrow, then I only need like maybe 9 or 10 enemies on the battlefield that are going to be contesting them, and that'll be a good 8 rounds of combat. It'll be a good 2 hours of play. If there's 6 people that show up, oh boy, it's going to be stacked. So we'll probably want to operate in squads so that they're using action economy together. But I can easily throw on 20, 25 units, enemy units to fight them against. It just scales the same like any other D&D game. If you know how to calibrate a fight from 2nd level to 8th level, and you feel pretty confident about it, if you just make all those numbers jump by 10, that's basically what you're doing with weapon combat here. So otherwise, it's the movement's a little different, but otherwise it's pretty much the same stuff. So let's see, we still got about 20 minutes. So let's see. Let's talk about a stat sheet. What do characters need to know? There's action economy, verbal, object, bonus, and then action. Attack, like a monk. Like if you have a monk on your team and he uses flurry of blows, then his bonus action gives you 2 attacks. So he can use his flurry of blows by using a point of key to get his crew to fast hand reload your weapon and fire it again. This stuff is great. It's like, oh, that monk's got fast hands. Look at him load that ballista. Well, you throw a rock at him and he deflects it into a basket, and he can just fire the catapult. So silly. So there's action economy, which is super important. Let's go with object is less versatile. Object equals move vehicle, pilot move vehicle. Commander, moves, vehicles, 1 verbal, 1 object, 1 bonus, 1 action. You got attack. Commander issues attack. Let's see. Bonus action equals pilot. Let's see. Bonus actions equals vehicles. Vehicles dash. Vehicles disengage. And you get your own character's normal 5-foot options, like, I don't know, cast spiritual weapon or rage. Whatever it is that might make sense to you. You got your vehicle dodge, commander issues attack. Vehicle dash, vehicle disengage, vehicle dodge, commander issue attack. Pilot, ram attack. Commander issues attack. Pilot makes ram attack. Yeah, 5th rank attack. Do that. We had these rules at the beginning of the command document where martial casters would accumulate a larger command die than spellcasters would. And but when we developed Spelljammer, we got rid of the need for a command die, and we just built the command die into the rank of the crew. And so the way that used to work is that if you were commanding more troops than your character, like higher ranked troops, like higher CR creatures than your level, it's like an ogre doesn't respect the commands of a villager, but a war chieftain that he's seen, that this ogre has personally seen this little halfling kill with a knife, is like, oh yeah, that's a bad little halfling. If she's telling me what to do, I better do it. That's kind of the thought process that goes inside ogre's head sometimes when you're a 2nd level halfling. Now, if you're an 8th level halfling and you're wearing ogre's skull armor, then chances are he's gonna be like, okay, well, call the shot, boss. Tell us what we're gonna do. We just didn't need that in Spelljammer. so we don't really need that. That's a level of complexity that we probably don't need in just the basic troop command rules. So what we did do was we would limit, if a crew would outranked its commander, then it just degraded to the level of the commander. At the speed of the captain, the speed of the ship. If your captain's horrible at managing weapon crews, then the crew isn't going to perform well, and so that's why it erodes its efficiency. I think we can keep that. So I don't think we need to have a variable command die. It's probably safe to have all characters use the same command die. I'm not seeing in the playtest any unfair advantage that casters are gaining by having a worse command die than the fighter. Yeah, so I don't think we need to have different command dice. I think we can just have a generic command die based on the level of the character, and then the so you guys are 12th level, 11th level, which is 1, 5, 9. Your third tier. So it's going to be D4, D6, D8. Is that right? 1, 5, 9, 13. Yeah, 13, 17. So yeah, you guys are third rank. So it's just going to be D8s. You'll all just use D8s now. So hey man, how you doing? Good to see you guys. I'm building out the action economy templates for you guys to be able to check off things. Like you get your one object to pilot the moving vehicle, or and if you don't have anything that you're individually piloting, then that's kind of a wasted action. Instead, if you guys are moving in squadrons, then we'll have a verbal action to command the movement of the vehicles. And if you don't have to worry about that personally yourself because you're in the same squadron as another character that's commanding the movement of the squadron for you, that frees up your verbal action to issue an attack. Then you get the bonus actions, and then normal actions that everyone gets. These are the basic breakdown of what these things can do. And then you get the action, which is vehicle dash, same as a bonus action. You get your attack commands, which are the same, but then you got the extra attacks that you get for being a marshal or a fighter. And then you got your normal 5-foot scale character options. I think let's go with support. Support equals use. Let's go with. Should I break this up into? Should I break this up into into piloting, siege weapons, and support roles? Is that how it should? Is that the better way to break these things up? Like, am I piloting? Like, if you know these are all the things you could do as an action. I've got support actions, like you can use a bonus action, or see the thing is that almost all this stuff is the same. Like bonus actions are it's basically like bonus action and action are the same action economy, except if you make an attack with an action, you potentially have multiple attacks you can make depending on what type of character you are. So the data can get split one of two ways. It can either be split by the role that you're performing on the ship, or in this case in your convoy, as being the pilot and the navigator, or are you the weapon crew, or are you a support character that's dealing healings and providing buffs and other things that you can do. If we're breaking it down by role, then I need to have like your pilot role. You can do movement, disengage, dodge, dodge, disengage, dash. Yeah, move, dash, dodge, disengage. That's like the 4 things that you can do. But you don't have to play just that one role. You could be both the pilot and the gunner on your truck if you've got the action economy for it and your positions and your weapons are positioned properly. So you could use an object interaction to move. You could use a verbal action to command your crew to fire, and then you could use additional bonus action and your standard action to either move again. You could dodge, you could disengage, you could dash, you could attack, but you could also like grant advantage to the next attack roll for your weapon crew firing spree. Or does it make the most sense to break it down by actions like I have it here? Like these are all the actions that you can do, but now I need to start. Yeah, maybe breaking down by piloting, siege, piloting, gunner, support. Those are probably the 3 roles that exist inside of that. So yeah, we'll go ahead and restructure that real quick. So let's go with pilot. Yeah, because only the pilot has the object interaction. So pilot 1 object equals pilot move vehicle. 1 bonus equals vehicle dash equals vehicle disengage equals vehicle dash dodge equals pilot ram attack equals character 5-foot options. Meaning this is the kind of stuff you don't really be able to do on a 5-foot scale. And then you got your 1 action equals V dash equals V disengage equals vehicle dodge equals pilot ram and then extra attacks equals ram. Does that make sense? Does that feel fit? Like that's all you can do as a pilot. That's like your pilot actions. That feels pretty efficient. Gunner. 1 verbal equals squadron attack. 1 bonus equals squadron attack. 1 action equals attack. That seems pretty straightforward. That's certainly efficient. And then we go with support. Does that make sense? You can, as a bonus action or an action, as a support action, you in the support role, you can use an action or bonus action to use help, which grants advantage on a d20 to any pilot or gunner check. The gunner check is the command check to fire weapons. The pilot check is either an opposed check to close pursuit or to open distance to flee, or ram attacks. Anything that you would normally be able to use a help action to grant your ally advantages on a d20 die roll is basically what that rolls out to. Extra attack. Oh wait, I missed that. Equals character 5-foot options. character, 5 foot options. And support. Okay, cool. Thank you. Glad you showed up. I really appreciate your help. Let's dive into the Spelljammer document. And let's go find roles so we can see all the fun stuff. Let's get down in it. See if there's any pilot roles in here. Oh, wait. Yeah. Concentration doesn't matter with trucks. You have your normal additional actions. Ram we already covered. Scuttling, that is ramming is causing damage, while scuttling is screwing up somebody's gravity plane. So if you hit them with a scuttle, you come in at a weird angle and it causes their gravity to shift, and all their people take falling damage on the ship, and the ship takes crashing damage, and the pilot has to maintain a concentration check, which is why you have the quick recovery as a reaction to regain concentration in case you get scuttled, rammed, take damage for your ship, you lose concentration. You got to recover that crap. Holding, oh yeah, holding steady. That's a good one. Let's see. Let's do a asterisk here. We're not gonna worry. Oh yeah, withdrawal. That is. Let's see. Vehicle dash, disengage, pilot ram attack, pilot move action equals close, open, distance, and chase. That's still legit. That's what takes you from the 50-foot scale to the 500-foot scale by evading to the 1 mile scale by evading, and beyond the 1 mile scale you can't catch sight of the enemy anymore, so you've effectively lost them, and you now have to use investigation and tracking checks to try to find them again. Conversely, closing distance to the 500-foot, closing distance to the 50-foot scale, and then closing distance all the way down to the truck on truck action, to have like we were looking at down here. There we are. Like this is zooming all the way into the 5-foot scale, where you guys are close enough to throw rocks at each other. So that's hold on, I'm gonna push these guys to the back. Like, if the greatest dog ever is piloting this demon grinder, he could be sending angry barks at his enemy, casting vicious mockery, while also piloting the truck. But at this scale, you can measure things in 5-foot squares. But if we're panning out to the 50-foot scale, like on this map, then you're going to have a range that's far enough to be able to target 150 feet away, or 400 feet away, unless you upcast one level to get that each square equals 50 feet instead of each square equals 5 feet, just like we did in the Spelljammer playtesting. It's just the trucks are only each convoy at best fills a 50-foot square, as opposed to the Spelljammer ships fill a 500-foot square, but still were represented by anywhere from 2 to 5 50-foot squares. So you're still affecting that 50-foot scale of upcasting. It just means more to trucks than it does to Spelljammers. So, does I see support small in command. Oh, does in command support small campaigns like Ravenloft or only vehicle campaigns like Saltmarsh? Oh my God, you weren't here for the Greenest in Flames playtesting, were you? Yeah. Totally. We're just doing all this. We had done all of the foot soldier command mechanics, and it was a lot more complicated than what this is. But it worked beautifully. It worked just as easily as vehicles. It's just that you have to stack up troops. Like for example, if you are commanding a squad of say this is you, and you're in command of these NPCs that are running around in a squad with you, right? And if they're using long swords or just like generic weapons or whatever, then they're going to be doing D8 each, but their size is large, the 2x2 block. So it's going to be 2d8 damage that they deal when you issue a verbal command for them to attack. They act as a horse or a mount when you move. So their movement is your movement. Whatever their movement speed is your movement speed. Whatever their movement type is your movement type. So you can tag along with them. But like if they can swim and you can't, then you get left behind. You can only, hey, go attack that thing over there. But if they can carry you like a hippocampus or like a giant squid or a shark or something as your mount, you could swim along with these merfolk to go attack stuff. But at the 5-foot scale, it's essentially the exact same thing. So you're running around as a squad. It's basically like a large-sized creature that's doing 2d8 damage. You're using your it's not a multiplier. It's just 2d8 damage. If you get up to 10 of these things in a row into a 50-foot block, then you just outscale to the 50-foot scale, and it does d8 times 10 damage instead of 2d8, 4d8, 8d8, etc. Whoever's the commander, you use their hit points. You get a kicker, and that if they're first-rank creatures like villagers, then they have 10 hit points per facing. So like this 2x2 block has 20 hit points that get added as like temporary hit points on top of your character. If you run out of hit points, the whole squad is gone. What's different about troops from vehicles is that if your troop gets hit and you don't want to take the damage, and like you only have 20 hit points in this troop, I don't want to waste that. I can just let this guy die. So I still have a 2x2, I'm missing one, but I've got a 2x2 space here that my squad fills. I still do 2d8 damage on any verbal attack that I choose to use. It's just, and I still have 20 hit points because the squad hasn't taken any damage yet. It's just that if I take another hit and I don't want to take damage, I don't want to take that 20 hit point damage off of my crew, then I'm going to have to sacrifice another guy. So I'm running out of troops. I've still got a 2x2 while I'm part of that crew. If I'm in this squad with this team moving with them, it's still a 2x2 squad. If I walk away from them and I'm now commanding this guy like independently, he's just a guy. So I could issue a verbal command, hey, you guy, go attack, and he'll go do that. He'll hut over here and he'll go attack that thing while you can use the rest of your actions over here as normal. But you could then also use a bonus action. It's like, hey, you over there, make another attack. And then use your standard actions of, I'm going to attack once with my sword. And, hey, you guy over there, you attack too. You could break up your action economy that way. Actually, let me take that back. You can only issue extra actions. You can only issue one verbal action. You can only have if you're not in formation with the team. Like if you're not riding along with the team, you can only issue one verbal action per round. And it's going to either be to like all of your guys that are here in the field, or it's going to be to one of them. It's like, hey, you do this thing. You can be like, all you guys attack over there, and they'll just attack like you'd expect zombies or whatever to do. And it's like, hey, you zombie there, you go attack over there. It's like, but these guys are still going to do what they're doing because you can only issue one verbal action per round to guide your actions. If they're all in formation with you, in that they're forming a cohesive group that are in tight formation like this, you could have weirdness like let me grab some more pips. Like if this is you, the commander, then this is in formation. This is not information. This is information, but if you go like this, that's not information. Well, it would be information, but you'd have to scale it to the 50-foot scale. Like, this is too long of a, like, this is too much of a leg for, you could call this information because everything is adjacent to each other. But for you to have like this long leg out here acting, you're only able to command something like that at the 50-foot scale, because all this would just wrap into one squad here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 guys inside this 50-foot squad. It's a pretty empty space, but you can't effectively command a stretched out team like this because they're out of formation. Like, you could command these guys over here, but that would be a separate action than the actual squad that you're in formation with. It's like you could do something like, even this works. That's fine, but this is out of like, this guy's out of formation because he's not being. But like, if you had a crew like this, that is in formation because all these guys are being connected by more than one guy. Is basically how that's coming down. So, and you're in that group with them. You're connected to the mass, and the mass is connecting to everybody else. This is all fine, and it's in formation. And its size is 1, 2, 3, or is it 1, 2, 3, 4? It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So, but if you have to like go through a narrow passage like this, right? You can't just, if you try to strewn these guys out like this, so you're doing something like this. Get out of the way. If it's strewn out like this, it's like you're leading this caravan. At this point, this whole block is cut off from you. They're not in formation with you like at all. So you have to get, if you're going to go down tunnels like this, you have to have a small crew that you can keep your eye on so they don't get lost. If you're like taking corners. Like, if you go around and you take this corner and you've got all of your crew over here, they don't know what's going on anymore. And they can get scared. You have to make a morale check to keep them around. If you fail your morale check, they run away. So you have a lot more individual control over the units. But at the 5-foot scale, they can do a lot of work at the small scale. And they act as a really good hit point pool for you. So second level characters can take on ogres because you're going to have 20 hit points of buff on top of your like 15 hit point fighter. You've now got like a 35 hit point pool, and you can just pick off guys along with it. So you can soak a lot of damage using squads, but maneuvering them down into these dungeon spaces and not losing troops from morale attrition as you go worming your way through. What you can do is you can just have one squad that the team controls, so that when you start breaking into these weird formations, like, hey, I got Carl, you got Doug, he's got Willie, and Claire's with you. So you can break up your squad so that everyone can work together to make sure that everyone's covering each other. And then once you get into the dungeon room, you can spend your move action to form up your squad and jump on board with it, so you guys can just attack as a single-faced wall. So in dungeons, you can go in and you can find room environments that allow your team to square up and form formations to be able to do greater damage against your enemies, versus leading larger crews into corridors so that they have to break up their action economy and they can't attack you just as one united front and use these mechanics against you. So it's evolving. Hornetico, Rose, and NAC can explain a lot of these mechanics when you hang out with them. But like session, like the first, like in this playlist, like maybe the first 15 episodes talked about a lot of that before we had developed vehicle combat. As we scale up in size, it gets simpler and simpler mechanics. And we're realizing we can use these same simple mechanics and scale back down to the 5-foot scale with these squads of people at the 5-foot scale. But then we just have like vehicles work a little bit differently than spelljammers, and boats on water work a little bit differently than than infernal war machines. People like troops, physical troops work a little differently than vehicles do, just because they're individuals that you can break up into smaller squads and push around. So hopefully that makes sense as a not so quick and narrow explanation. But it is 6:35, and I'm going to have to end up bouncing out. But that's why we're doing Spelljammer first. Well, Spelljammer is super hot right now. So we're doing Spelljammer first and get that out. And then we're going to do, because the crews on those ships are so small, they're not really an issue. You got like 6 or 7 guys on your crew with you. You don't really need to have complicated mass combat systems for the small amount of sailors you have on ship with you, if any at all. And then you go into the Infernal War Machines, which has crews of people sort of still background to the weapons that they're wielding on the vehicles, but you're scaling down so your characters are engaging more. And then the next step after that, after we get Infernal War Machines released, would be in command of squads and in command of squads and armies, or in command of armies. Might just be the easier way of doing it. But at that point, we already have the Spelljammer rules out. We already have the Descent into Avernus War Machine rules out. At that point, the commanding squads and armies is just going to, oh yeah, that just makes sense, because we built it tiny first and realized how easy it would be to upscale from it. Now that we've upscaled and built something solid upscaled, we're like, well, what do we actually need when we downscale? And that's what we're doing right now with this Descent into Avernus stuff, seeing how much can we make Spelljammer work with Infernal War Machines. And the answer is a lot. And then we can scale down after that. Once we finalize that document, we can scale down again to the individual troops. The armies, we already know how those work. It's like just having piles of hell wasps or whatever, like at that 50-foot and larger scale. They basically move like trucks, except that their movement is slower, and so they don't have as much, they have like their move action, there you go. But they don't have to waste a verbal or an object interaction to make that movement. It's just their free movement that round. And then they have that scale up damage that we were talking about. And again, you can pick off troops from inside of that instead of the troop taking damage. But yeah, there you go. So let's see if I can steal a couple more moments away in my evening before my evening actually begins. Let's just see what's there. Dogfighting, scaling in, close, open distance, and chase. Dodge, disengage. Okay, we got all that. So let's go to the gunner. Holding steady, close, open distance, and a chase. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Okay, we'll leave that like that. Let's go to the gunner. Additional actions, drop down to the gunner stuff, ship melee weapons, is ram attacks, grappling claw attacks, which we don't really have a lot of. Well, you got the grappling claws, you got the demon grinders, you got the wheels. Siege weapon, rate of fire. Reload. The Infernal War Machines themselves. Okay, yeah. Actually, that is relevant. Let's see. Additional gunner actions. Let's go with reload. B action. B or attack equals bonus action, action, or as an attack equals reload siege weapon. Like the Harpoon Flingers that are native to the Infernal War Machines that do 2d8 damage on attack. They automatically reload as an action, like similar to well, it has a belt clip basically, so you can just fire rounds, and when you roll a natural 1, your clip goes empty. So then you have to spend an action to reload the weapon. At the 5-foot scale, you got archers and slingers that can just fire as many rounds as they can load, as whatever their action economy is. But with Infernal War Machines, the chain belt Harpoon Flinger will keep firing until you hit that natural 1, and then you have to spend an action to reload. And the siege weapons only work if your crew is able, if your command die is equal to or lower than the reload mechanic, which we talked about 2 sessions ago in the Spelljammer document that we were building. Maybe it was 3 sessions ago. It's in the playlist. It's recent. But you guys have enough crews, like you'll be commanding siege weapons, and you'll be able to take over siege weapons in this battle. So siege weapons are relevant. So, and we'll just use the same siege rules as we have for Spelljammer, because they work so fucking sweet. So you get the reload mechanic. Oh yeah, take aim. Take aim equals I think it's a bonus action or an action. Yeah, as an action or bonus action, commander can roll action equals next attack at advantage. Roll with advantage. What else is good? Oh, opportunity attack. Put that action reaction that goes here. Get out of here. That's not my vibe. Equals character 5-foot options. Vehicle opening distance without. Okay, so like when we're doing chases, if you lock a range with your enemy, if you try to back off that range and you're within weapons range, either a melee weapon attack from the pilot doing a ram, if you try to back away, just like with normal 5e combat at the 5-foot scale, if an enemy tries to withdraw without using disengage, when he steps away, you get a free attack on him. A pilot can do a ram attack. But similarly, even at the 50-foot scale, if you guys are adjacent to each other at the 50-foot scale, if you try to withdraw out to the 500-foot scale, then your weapon crew can make an opportunity attack to issue attacks as well. Everyone has only one reaction, so the damage is either going to be coming through the ram, which is going to do about the same amount of damage as the Harpoon squad team does. So it's either it's a melee weapon or it's a ranged weapon, but it's that care to be meaningfully withdrawing. So like I am ghosting you yeet right now, and if I am just asses and elbows, I'm going to get a bunch of arrows in my back. If I am being smart about like withdrawing at an angle and like doing some cornering and stuff like that to minimize risk to my team using the disengage action, no opportunity attacks, just like you would expect it to mean in 5e combat. So it's just a larger scale, but you're just dealing with bigger things that move faster. So like that disengage is part of you slipping your enemy to be able to get that extra distance. Like you get that extra distance by escaping. And if you aren't using disengage to do it, then you're exposing yourself to risk by just like straight shot, let's get out of here. It's like, well, you're an easy target. That's how that works. That's the narrative behind it anyway. So that resolved the opportunity attack stuff. Oh yeah, and there's ready attack, of course. Which is a normal 5-foot option thing. I guess you don't have to worry about that. Siege weapon damage we've talked about a lot in previous episodes. Let's get down to the support role. Siege actions, bardic inspiration. That's just talking about action economy in general. Let's see. There's spell casting. There's modifying to upcasting. Notable spells. I still want to awaken all my vehicles so that they can become sidekicks. That's some low-hanging fruit we haven't seen on the DMs Guild yet. But boy, that is 100% going to be a free, like a pay what you want expansion of this when it comes out. It's like just take that. That is by far my favorite part of this book. Is 5th level spells animate object so that it can move like an actual animal can move, and then you awaken it so it actually becomes a construct animal, and now it's smart enough to obey your commands. So you can build a psychic class out of your vehicles, your spaceship. So when you're operating at the 50-foot scale, it is like literally just like grabbing and clawing at stuff. It's like any awakened creature automatically gets a bludgeon, piercing, and or slashing attack, depending on how you want to do it. Like their wings can actually flex when they fly, or like they can like snake along, like a fish when they're swimming. Absolutely just love animating and awakening vehicles. That is so cool. So that is absolutely going to be the first pay what you want that I build off of this thing once it publishes, because awakened ships is just too. Living ships with trance is cool, but awakening your ship is infinitely cooler. So I get to build a ship sidekick. That is, I've never built a sidekick class before. I am really looking forward to that. So maybe that's what I'll do on my Monday streams for a little bit. I think the Martial Powers project was coming along pretty well. I should probably stick with that and just get that done. But I've got a big backlog of stuff kind of building up. I'm kind of excited about maybe that's what I'll do on upcoming Fridays. I'll do that awakening. But so we got all this stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Spell casting. We know how spell casting works. Blending, group initiative we're talking about. Whether shared power. Oh yeah, shared power. And retarget. Oh yeah. Retarget's good. Help equals creature attuned to a spell amplifier can use on. That's a reaction. One reaction equals retarget equals act as commander or pilot. Act as pilot or gunner. Pilot or gunner to take damage for the crew vehicle. Shared power. Let's see. Contribute spell level to upcast. Upscaling to 50-foot map targets. There's got to be better language for this, which is what we're trying to figure out. Better language. And that is that's essentially the actions. Oh wait. Rid of all that. Yeah, that is your quick action summary list. So I'll make sure I post this as a document for folks to look at, and then ground vehicle movement. And command check instead of attack roll to determine success or miss. If using siege weapons, compare the command die result to the reload score of weapon. Success, command die equals more than score equals auto reload. Fail equals command die less than score equals not loaded. It's equals spend action to reload below. So you guys are rolling D8s. If you're firing, there's only Trebuchet, which has a reload of 7. There is a Mangonel, which has a reload of 5. And there is a Ballista, which has a reload score of 1. So you can always fire a Ballista over and over again, do 4 times 10 damage. It's worth your time. There is the word I'm trying to use, the Mangonel does D6 times 10 damage, and on a D8 you're going to reload it. Well, your third rank, so it's going to actually be from 5. It drops down to 2. So on an 8-sided die, 2 or above, a Mangonel is going to reload. The raw score for a Trebuchet is 7. You guys are 3rd rank, which means the score drops by 3, so it's a 4. So a 4 or higher on a D8 command die roll means that your team will automatically be able to reload the Trebuchet and fire again. So you've got a pretty damn high chance of your Trebuchet being effective. There you go. So otherwise, you can just fire your Harpoon Flingers. Harpoon Flingers only have 150-foot range, but they do 2d8 damage on a truck, or if you've got a convoy in a 50-foot square, it does d8 times 10 damage. But again, it's only 150-foot range, as opposed to a Trebuchet, which has a 1,500-foot range, or a Mangonel, which has a 1,000-foot range, or a Ballista, which has a 500-foot range. They shoot far good. So if you get enough Harpoon Flingers chucking spears at things, then yeah, it's going to do a lot of damage too. But it's that 150-foot range is just like, it's super limited. So anyway. Let's see. Command check equals D20 plus 1D8 plus 3 or stat if you took the heroic commander feat. Heroic commander feat equals choose a stat. That is your command bonus ability. For example, for example, 12th level charisma 20 equals d20 plus 1d8 plus 5. Let's see here, ground vehicle movement. When move, direction. Pursuits and ram attacks. Use pilot check. Pilot check equals d20 plus your proficiency modifier, which at this point is 4. Is that right? 1, 5, 9, 13. So yeah, plus 4. d20 plus 4 plus stat. Choose dex or int for stat, unless taking heroic pilot feat. Heroic pilot feat equals choose any stat other than dex or int for piloting. That's the thick skinny of it. AC equals 15 plus pilot stat or command stat bonus. Feet per action. Let's go with saves equals pilot commander. HP equals pilot commander truck's HP total. So hit points equals the pilot's and commander's hit points plus the hit points equals the pilot or the commander's hit points plus the truck hit point total. The truck has 10 hit points per 5-foot space in size. So it's going to be like a demon grinder is a gargantuan vehicle, so it's a 20 by 20 truck. I'm sorry, it's 20 by 15 truck. 20 is its bigger spacing, so it gives you an extra, divided by 5 is 4 times 10. Gives you an extra, basically 40 hit points, and it's got the damage threshold of 20. So it adds a little bit of durability to your characters, but you'll be taking a lot of damage as a pilot. So that's a fun dynamic. Keep your heals on hand. But yeah, the armor class, hit points, saving throw, movement. The attacks are done by pilot. One move. Ram equals pilot check, deal, vehicle melee damage, which is typically going to be 3d10 slash pierce bludgeoning. That should be everything that we need to say about vehicles there, and it's 7 o'clock, so I've hit my stream time. I am really looking forward to firing this up in the morning and having you guys just having our crew tear through Elturel to take it back. The objective here is to clear this north this corner up here, so that it's not a threat. So you can claim some weapons and defend this thing because Zariel's coming. You also have to be able to get everybody off. I guess you could. No, if you try flying off the thing, you're just going to get hit by a bunch of siege weapon fire. That's just all housed around. That's just set up around the city. So you can't even just like export people by flying them away because you'll get attacked in flight. And they'll certainly get eaten when they get put on the ground. And if you're wasting all your time carrying off peoples in 2x2s and 4x4s, then you've got a whole fortress that's going to fall. So there's too much to do, not enough time to do it. Ain't that just war? So that's what we're going to be dealing with. We're just going to try to secure this area up here. And we'll see who shows up. And once we know how many people are going to be here in the morning, I'll know how much opposition I need to put on the board, and God willing, this is going to be as much fun as everything else has been. So, looking forward to catching up with everybody. If I have any time to stream in the afternoon tomorrow, I'll be painting Eberron book cover. Otherwise, Monday night, I'll be working on the Eberron book cover, and Monday lunch stream. Now that I've got my OBS fixed and I know how it's operating properly, I can go back in and I can do the spellcasting segment, how to multi-class into martial power classes and casting classes together. So, and then the rest of the week will be probably more painting, Spelljammer painting, and Crystals of Mabar painting. I think by this time next week I can be done with the Crystals of Mabar cover, and we'll be really close to done with the Spelljammer cover. So we'll see how things shake out, and I look forward to seeing you guys when we get to. So like, subscribe, check out my books on DMsGuild. You can read them cover to cover, see if you like them, know that I'm worth your time. Like, subscribe, share, Twitter, Patreon. Later. Yeah, that's my